What's up guys, it's And It's Gone, and today we'll be looking at 6 trades for White Sox breakout star Garrett Crochet going into the 2024 MLB trade deadline. If I told you that Garrett Crochet would be the best starter on the market this deadline at the beginning of the season, you would have probably thought I lost my mind. Throughout his entire career, Crochet has been a reliever that has already suffered through a litany of injuries. He missed the entire 2022 season from a torn UCL, and only pitched 12 2/3 innings in the 2023 season after dealing with some shoulder struggles. However, when he was healthy, he was one of the most nasty pitchers in the entire game, with a fastball that sit in the high 90s, a cutter, slider, and changeup all thrown from a lower arm slot from the left-handed side. He was always one to strike batters out, and now, converted into a starter and healthy, there's no wonder why he currently leads all of the American League in strikeouts. With the best fastball in the game this season, Crochet has generated a career-high 34% K rate on that pitch, and is now far more comfortable using it in any count, definitely paving the way to his success. At the moment, Crochet has already pitched 82 2/3 innings, a career high for him, and has posted a 3.16 ERA and 116 strikeouts to only 19 walks. In the playoffs, teams crave these types of strike throwers, and Crochet will no doubt be in hot demand come the trade deadline, especially considering that he'll be under contract for the next 2 years after this one, exponentially bolstering his trade value. And as for the White Sox, while it may seem counterintuitive for them to trade Crochet, who has been their best player this season and is still under contract for 2 more years, there are a couple of compelling reasons why they should make this trade right now. For starters, Crochet has had a litany of injuries already, and the chance that the White Sox will never have another chance to grab as much of a haul as they can right now by trading Crochet, either due to injuries or underperformance, is definitely not 0%. Next, while the White Sox still have control over him for the next 2 more seasons, based on the state of their roster, they will most likely not have a chance of competing in either the 2025 or 2026 seasons, meaning that there's a high chance they could lose Crochet for almost nothing if they don't trade him. Lastly, the Sox have a bevy of high-end pitching prospects like Drew Thorpe and Noah Schultz later on that could easily pick up the slack that a roster long-term without Crochet would have, while they have very little overall on the hitting side, especially in the outfield in terms of prospects. Trading Crochet for some hitting prospects means that the White Sox could be better situated for competing in the long run with a more balanced array of hitting and pitching prospects. This video will highlight the types of packages that the White Sox should go for and the teams that want Crochet. But before we get onto the video, could you guys please hit the like and subscribe button? Currently, only 3% of people who watch my videos are subscribed, so if y'all do, not only would it help me grow my channel, but it would also encourage me to create more videos like this one for you guys. And without further ado, let's get on to the video. And as messy as it is, the St. Louis Cardinals are right in the thick of it in terms of a wildcard spot in the National League, all thanks to some timely hitting and a great bullpen. While the top of their rotation has been great, with Sonny Gray and Kyle Gibson manning that front nicely, the back half of their rotation has been iffy at best, and a Garrett Crochet trade could be the thing that solidifies themselves as contenders in this muddied NL wildcard race. With 2 more years after this one, Crochet kinda fits the Cardinals' timeline in that 2 years' time, the majority of Cardinals' core would have either aged out of their prime production or have left in free agency. A Crochet trade could be the thing that they truly need to make the most out of their last final seasons of production from some of their aging stars, while having success as they usher in the new generation of talent. With a decent array of hitting prospects and young players, this trade is doable but not easy. In my trade, I have former top prospect Jordan Walker, as well as Thomas Segesi and Victor Scott II. Walker, once considered a top 3 prospect in all of baseball, has struggled in his time with the Cardinals. However, a change of scenery could be in order, and at 6'6", 250 pounds, and an uncanny bat-to-ball skills for someone of his size, the White Sox could get superstar potential from Walker, while Segesi can develop into a great all-around infield bat, and Scott a nice defense for a center fielder who can play right away, with developing contact abilities as a leadoff type of hitter. Although I doubt that the White Sox are willing to trade right now as the face of their franchise to a division rival, Garrett Crochet going to the Guardians here does make a lot of sense. Looking at their rotation, it's pretty middling despite the torrid start overall Cleveland has gone through the first few months of the season. Shane Bieber was supposed to be the ace of the staff, but suffered a torn UCL, leaving a bunch of middling to high-end starters but no aces. What's more, except for Tanner Bibee, there's really no one getting a bunch of strikeouts on this staff, something that plays really well come playoff time. Crochet not only adds the ace part, but the strikeouts to a rotation that already has a bunch of great middle-of-the-order guys. Crochet here becomes the head of what is now a very strong Guardians rotation, supplementing the good hitting core and elite bullpen. And with a good enough core, the Guardians can compete for the next couple of years with Crochet on the roster. And with a bevy of hitting prospects, they fit well with the White Sox and what their department wants to do. And in my trade, I have the White Sox acquiring outfielders Chase DeLauder, George Valera, Jason Chourio, as well as Kyle Manzardo. Without a top-of-the-line prospect or young player that they're willing to give up, the Guardians gut their farm system for Crochet, while Chicago gets a ton of added slug in DeLauder, Valera, and Manzardo, and a potential all-around 5-tool player in Chourio. For a complete outfield over the long term, this is really not a bad package for Crochet. If it weren't for Yamamoto's injury taking him out for an extended period of time, the Dodgers likely wouldn't be on this list. Likely, the Dodgers would have stayed pat or made a minor move and waited for Kershaw and Bobby Miller to return from their respective injuries. However, with Yamamoto expected to be out until at least late August, if not September, then this raises serious questions about the Dodgers' rotation as a whole outside of Glasnow. Kershaw will be 36 when he returns. Yamamoto, Buehler, and Miller have already suffered extensive injuries this season, and the rest of the rotation is filled with young unproven pitchers like Gavin Stone or Landon Knack, or pitchers past their prime like Paxton. A pitcher like Crochet just gives the Dodgers so much more leeway going into the playoffs, as now the Dodgers have one less question mark come playoff time about who's going to start after Glasnow and Yamamoto if he comes back healthy and ready for the playoffs. Over the next 2 years, Crochet would then add just to an already strong rotation that is getting back Ohtani. As one can never have too much starting pitching over a long season, this is incredibly valuable. Or he can even be an elite relief option if the Dodgers believe that the best spot is in the bullpen to preserve his health. As for the Dodgers, they have a couple of depth pieces and prospects that they can use to make this trade, sending over James Outman, Dalton Rushing, and Kyle Hurt. Outman, at one point looking like the center fielder of the future for the Dodgers, he's had a rough season, and the White Sox buy low hoping that Outman can provide that 5-tool player upside for them. Outside of him, Rushing is the top prospect for the Dodgers, and one of the best catching prospects in all of baseball, with a great arm and power-hitting bat that the White Sox could desperately use. And Kyle Hurt is a young starter with upside, who replaces Crochet's spot in the rotation relatively easily. The Brewers have completely flipped the script considering how they are historically successful over the past couple of years. Usually, they're carried by elite starting pitching with just enough hitting to win the NL Central. However, this year, the complete opposite has occurred. Their hitting up and down the lineup has been some of the best in baseball, while their pitching has been very much shaky the entire season. Outside of Colin Ray and Freddie Peralta to some extent, the rest of the rotation has been filled with a patchwork of guys that have shown flashes at times, but whether due to injuries, command issues, or simply getting hit hard, have not established themselves at the big league level. The addition of Garrett Crochet just adds so much more stability to a Brewers rotation, and the only thing better than one stable starter is two, which is why I think that the Brewers could trade for Eric Fedde along with Crochet, trading Sal Frelick, Tyler Black, Jefferson Caro, and Logan Henderson in that deal. Fedde and Crochet just add so much more stability to a Brewers rotation that, outside of just two pitchers, have been inconsistent throughout the season, and both will be around next year to further help cushion the landing of some of their more top pitching prospects. For the White Sox here, they get former top prospect Sal Frelick, who's been underwhelming in his time in the majors but has raked throughout his minor league career, and a nice contact-oriented bat in Tyler Black, another catching option in Jefferson Caro, and a nice control pitcher in Logan Henderson. It's a lot of depth here with the star prospects too in Frelick and Caro, but I wonder if they could get even more by trading these two starters separately. Like many teams around baseball, the Orioles have been bit by the injury bug hard amongst their starting rotation. John Means, Tyler Wells, and now Kyle Bradish are all out for the season needing Tommy John surgery, and Dean Kramer and Grayson Rodriguez have already spent time on the injured list as well. And although I don't think that the Orioles really need Crochet to have a good chance of winning the World Series, Burns, Rodriguez, Kramer, and Irvin is already more than enough, but Crochet is the best pitcher on the market, and the Orioles are by far the best farm system in all of baseball, and they can afford to get him and still have a lot left to spare. Getting Crochet not only means that the Orioles now have an elite rotation top down, but also ensures that other teams in the American League don't get him, and Crochet can assist in future playoff pushes that the Orioles will inevitably be in the future. In the short term, with the Yankees boat racing them for the AL East title, every game is going to be crucial when looking back on the season. Crochet, who has been healthy all season, can provide increased stability and another pitcher that gives them a good chance to win every time he takes the mound. And in the playoffs, Crochet can either be a starter, or if the rotation holds, he can be a lethal assassin in the bullpen. We saw from Patrick Corbin in 2019 what kind of success that can bring, and I think that Crochet could do that very same thing as a lefty with huge strikeout potential. As I said before, with a great farm system, this trade breaks down pretty simply. They trade Heston Kierstead, Connor Norby, and Cade Povich to do this trade. Or they could even do Kierstead, Samuel Basallo, Povich, and Enrique Bradfield Jr. if they wish to upgrade their center field position as well. Overall, while I don't see that one happening, the Crochet trade alone seems very doable, and given the Orioles' depth in their lineup and newly acquired depth in their rotation, they give up very little in the grand scheme of things, while giving the White Sox a potential franchise-caliber player in Kierstead to build off of, as well as Norby. The Padres, just like the Cardinals, are right in the middle of it when it comes to the NL wildcard spots, and with Musgrove and Darvish out for an extended period of time, it becomes paramount that they make a move as soon as possible, or risk losing ground in what is a very tight race when it comes down to the wire. Waldron and King have both had stellar seasons, in which has been keeping the Padres team afloat with their two co-aces gone. However, outside of them, there's been a lot of inconsistency, with Cease having his ups and downs, and those around him having ERAs over 5. Crochet not only adds another consistent starter to keep the Padres treading water before reinforcements come back, but is also another elite starter to throw in come playoff time, when it always seems like a team just needs 2 or 3 great starters to really make it far come playoff time. Not only are the Padres consistent trade deadline buyers, but they've also made a couple of trades with the White Sox as recently as earlier in this season, so there's that familiarity that comes being an added plus. With a great farm system acquired through excellent navigation of the international signing market, the Padres can afford to make a trade relatively easily. In my trade, I have Leo Dallas, Dave Reese, Graham Pauley, Eguy Rosario, and Dylan Lesko. And for the White Sox, while losing Crochet may hurt from this trade, getting basically an entire infield of the future with Dave Reese, Pauley, and Rosario at shortstop, third base, and second base respectively, while also getting a quality starting pitching prospect in Lesko is definitely a nice consolation prize.